Hello Wanderers, it's the Wandering Hermit here in sunny España, and I thought, I've got a bit of time to kill, so why not do a quick video on the letter J for this year's 2018 YouTube Pagan Challenge, considering I'm so far behind. It is now October, yeah, and I'm only on J. So I'm going to have to catch up. So today, rather fitting considering where I am, I thought I'd do my video on journeys. So the whole idea of journeying, both physically and spiritually, I think is an integral part of human existence. It's something that is built into us on a genetic level. We are a nomadic species and we are born to journey and to travel. So there's always a call on the deepest kind of human level, the deepest primitive level of human behavior. There's always a call to journey and to travel. So this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately because as my craft and my path becomes more oriented towards the North European tradition of Seder, I realise there's a lot of journeying involved in that. And I've not really, you come to the realisation that I've not really done much journeying myself, as much as I should be doing or as much as I'd like to be doing. So I kind of just want to talk briefly about the importance of physical and spiritual journeys and how to embark on spiritual journeys. I think I've done a video in the past on like one or two spiritual journeys that I've done, and I've certainly written an article on it as well, which is on the Wandering Hermit page on Google Blogger, if you want to have a look at that. I think it's like Journey into the Spirit World or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. I wrote it a long time ago. Anyway, get on there, check it out. It should be good. So yeah, I'll just go into it. So physical journeys are important for us because they fulfill a part of the human spirit, the human collective consciousness. It burns in all of us, and I think when we travel, we're struck by the wonder of new places and new experiences, and that is the most important thing, is the existential experience of just seeing more of the world and seeing how you as a human being fit into the grand scheme of things in the world. I think I'm only here in Spain, and I've not really travelled much further than that in my short life so far. I do intend to, but even just being here, you see so many differences in the landscape between here and the UK where I grew up. Differences in the foliage and in the animal life, and you see how the differences in the land reflects in how people are different, the attitudes that people have. I kind of get the impression that maybe because the weather is so much fairer here, and that the land is quite fertile, that perhaps that reflects in the local people because they're so much friendlier than people back in the UK, to my experience. It could just be that, they're being nice to your face but then slag you off behind your back. I don't know. But they come across as being really relaxed, but also really cheerful. Like, they're always up for a good time. And I think, I see that in the landscape as well. Now, in the UK is very kind of blustery, it's kind of windy, it's a little bit glum. It does have its bright moments, and I see that again in the people. They're quite, British people are actually generally quite bloody miserable on the whole. You do get the odd rays of sunshine, but by and large, we're pretty depressing. I think the further north you go and the harsher the climate gets, the harsher the people get. That's not to say that northern folk are, nasty or whatever, but they're tougher. The further north you go, the tougher the people get, and the more realistic an outlook on life they have. Further south you go towards the Mediterranean, people are a lot more poetic and dreamy, almost childlike. by comparison. And then of course you get people like in Western Europe, like in France, they're stuck right in the middle, so they are equally cynical as they are imaginative and easily inspired, you know. So I think to travel gives you more of an understanding of the world itself and of the people in it. And then of course through observing others you come to a greater understanding of yourself. So one of the best things that I can encourage anybody to do, if you haven't travelled outside of your home country, then first chance you get, do it. Get on a plane, get on a boat, take a train, whatever. Travel to another country and just see it, experience it, and experience how that world is reflected within you. So spiritual journeying is similar, but obviously on a much deeper level. There are so many other worlds that exist alongside this one. I can't say alongside because they're kind of intrinsically interwoven with this one. It's not like you pass out of this world and into another. They all coexist simultaneously in the same quote-unquote space. And a lot of these inner worlds are accessed from within the self. So journeying, I think, is really a very introspective experience, both, you know, physically and spiritually. So this is where I kind of get a little bit lost when it comes to spiritual journeying, because I haven't done as much of it as I should have done up to this point. But to start off, if you're going on a spiritual journey, the first thing you need to do is really focus on your intention. You need to be absolutely 100% sure of what it is that you're journeying to the other worlds for. Because if you're uncertain as to your destination, then how could you possibly chart a path, you know, and how can you find your way back? So yeah, first off, have a clear head and a clear idea as to what you want when you're going on your journey. Second of all, find a space when you're not going to be disturbed, because journeying can and often does take a very long time. In my meager experience of shamanic journeying, it can take 10, sometimes 20 or 30 minutes to work yourself into a meditative state, and then beyond into the kind of sleep-like hypnotic state. Trance work takes a very long time. Some people can just sit down in a lotus position, take a few breaths, focus on the chakras, line themselves up, and bang, they're gone. You know, 5 minutes tops. But a lot of the time, people struggle because naturally you're going to another non-physical place, and because we're so used to kind of perceiving the physical world with our eyes and our ears and our, you know, our hands and all of that, it can be quite difficult to perceive the other world when you actually get there, because there's a lot of visualization involved, there's a lot of imagination involved, and I know a lot of people who struggle with internal visualization. If you ask someone to picture a tree, they're like, all I see is black, or I see black but with like weird swirling colours or just abstract shapes. They can't focus on an actual tree. They can't see the tree that they're looking at. I would still say that if you ask someone to focus on a tree and they're seeing an abstract shape, they're seeing what could be regarded as the platonic form of the tree. They're seeing the essence of what the tree is, but not the actual physical tree. Or I should say an ethereal echo of the spiritual tree. So I know it is hard for some people to visualize, and it can take a long time. And it takes practice as well. So the third thing when it comes to journeying, if at first you don't succeed, keep trying. Don't give up, because when you actually get into that state and you start to experience the other worlds, it's bloody worth it. It really is. The wealth of experience that you can get from just a brief walk through the woods in the other world is absolutely astounding, to be fair. The symbolism that you can get when you're in those states. When you come back into your waking consciousness and you're like, wow, what have I just seen? and you start doing loads of research on the animals that you've seen and the trees that you've seen and the flowers that you've seen and the symbolism of rivers and lakes and things. Then you start to analyze the placement of certain things in the world and all of that, and then you learn so much about yourself, and you learn so much about your situation on your spiritual path, whereabouts you are. It really is a very, very valuable experience. So keep trying, just be persistent, keep practicing. You'll get the hang of it. Fourth, once you are in that position where you're not going to be disturbed and you've got plenty of time on your hands and you can work yourself into your state, the best thing to do is focus on breath. Now, there are two methods that I've used frequently, both of which work just as well, but one gets you there a hell of a lot faster. However, I would say this with a note of caution as well. So the first breathing technique is the longer one, the less dangerous one, which is basically counts of 4. So you breathe in for a count of 4 seconds, 3 and 4, and then you hold for the same period of time, and then you breathe out for the same period of time, and then you hold. And then you repeat, just on a constant cycle, counts of 4 for each stage of your breath. Now this takes a while, but it really does put you into that really relaxed meditative state. It can take up to 20 minutes, but it depends on your aptitude, it depends on how relaxed you are anyway. I mean, when I come home and I'm stressed to hell because of work, it takes me a while to get into that state, but on my days off, if I've got a lot of time, I get there about half the time. So that's one method, and it's nice and gentle when you breathe in. It's good. The other one, as I say, gets you to that state a lot faster, but if you're asthmatic, or if you have heart trouble, or if you have high blood pressure, then it's probably best not to do it, because it's a type of hyperventilation. So you're breathing in sharply through the nose and out through the mouth as quickly as you can for 30 seconds, and you get as many breaths in as you possibly can in those 30 seconds. And then you stop and then you breathe deeply. And with the massive rush of oxygen through your body and into your brain, you get a feeling of expansiveness, and everything in your body relaxes at once, but you also feel yourself expand. You feel your light body kind of move away from your physical body. And then you can just drop into the meditative state and just go. But as I say, if you've got health problems, it's best to avoid that, because it can aggravate them. It can bring on asthmatic attacks. It can increase blood pressure again. It can cause arrhythmia. You don't want any of that. So choose wisely which one you're going to do. But breath is very important. Fifth, when journeying, it's good to have a focal point, something that you can really kind of focus on when you're going into that state. It could be an image of an animal. It could just be a circle of colour, like a vortex of colour. It could be an actual, a shape that you're familiar with. It could be the image of a place. It could be a candle flame. I used to use candle flames quite a lot because I'm really drawn to the element of fire, which may have seen in one of my previous videos. But yeah, it's good to have something to focus your attention on, and as you're focusing on this object or shape or whatever it is, this image, you're putting all of your intention into that as well. So as you're focusing and you're asserting your intention, you say, say for example, I'm going in to meet my spirit guide. Well, one of my spirit guides, I've got many, but say for example, the hawk is one that I work with quite a lot. Because I won't go in and talk to the hawk. So as I journey to meet my spirit guide as hawk, and you repeat this either in your head or out loud, whilst focusing on this image, and it helps you get into that state a lot quicker. That was point 5, wasn't it? So 6. When you're on your journey, it's good to take a minute to look around when you find yourself in a certain space. Some people go in and they know exactly where they want to go. I go into what in my tradition is called the Frithgarth, which is like peaceful space. It means peace garden, which for me is a large meadow with a tree in the middle that I used to sit in as a child, and it's got forests on either side, and it's got a mountain at one end and a lake at the other, and a nice kind of like meandering river that goes down one side. But other people, they go in, they don't know where they're going to end up. So wherever you find yourself, stop, have a look around, and kind of try to not just see your surroundings, but also feel them. Try to hear any birdsong, try to feel the grass beneath your feet, or stones, or whatever it is that you're standing on. Try to see yourself. You may see yourself as a light being, you may see yourself as a physical being, you may be wearing clothes, you may see yourself in animal form. As I have on the odd occasion, which is pretty cool actually. You can also, I've found, move your consciousness from the point of self into something else. Now, I say the hawk is one of my spirit guides. It's its own being in this world. It always flies above, and I can look up and see it from my own perspective. But if I need to travel quickly across this world, then I can project myself up into the hawk and fly as the hawk to where I need to go, and then come back down into myself, almost like teleportation. So that's something that you can kind of work on doing the more you go into your journey. But try to make the experience as tactile as possible. Try to use as many of your ordinary senses as possible, but obviously in your mind's eye. It's not just seeing, it's feeling, it's hearing, it's smelling. You can even taste things on occasion. So it's really good to work on developing each of those internal senses. Seventh point I'd make is, once you have achieved what you've gone on the journey to do, it's always good to be able to retrace your steps back to where you started. Because on occasions I've kind of just snapped out of the journey, and I come back into my waking mind and I feel ill at ease as a result. I feel like I'm not altogether there, I'm slightly beside myself, and then of course you have to go through a process of grounding and cleansing the aura and everything else, just to bring yourself back into a state of working conscious mind. So if you are able to retrace your steps to where you started and kind of reverse the whole process as to how you went into that state in the first place, then the transition back to waking consciousness is a lot smoother and a lot more gentle on the mind and on the body, because you do get physical fatigue from traveling in the inner worlds. Now you can just be sat on the floor, or you can be on a bed, or you can be on the sofa, and you're just sitting or lying there for what, half an hour, 40 minutes, an hour, however long it takes. You're not really doing anything that should physically exert you, but you feel as though you've just run a friggin' marathon at the end of it. Because it is tiring. It puts a strain on the spirit, which then translates into the body. So the less strain you put on the mind, then the less strain you'll have on your body after you finish the journey. So what's that, 7 points? I'll see if I can make an eighth point, because 8 I think is a real nice number to finish on. 8th point, whenever you're journeying, try to take note of absolutely everything. The more that you can remember and bring back into your waking mind, the better, because when I come back from journeys, I try to write down everything I've seen. It doesn't have to be in order, but it helps if it is. So once you've developed your imagination and the ability to see in your mind, you can kind of walk through as if you're watching a film on playback, like you've recorded it and you're watching a video back. So if you are able to do that, or if you're able to develop that particular skill, then it's invaluable to you, because then you can take a detailed account of everything that you've seen, heard, felt, smelt and tasted whilst you're there, and then you can use those points of reference to do some research on, you know, the symbolic significance of that, and the hidden messages of the journey that you've received. It's a way of interpreting the language of spirit and translating it into your everyday life as useful information. So I'm going to end there because I'm at 20 minutes. I hope this video has been helpful. I'm bloody annoyed at myself for not doing more videos, so I'm going to try and do more in the near future. Until then, thank you all for watching. I wish you all a very good day or night wherever you are in the world. May your gods be with you. Bye for now.